AUKUS. It's an unusual name, AUKUS, but it's a powerful entity.
U.S. President Joe Biden, flanked by the leaders of Australia and the United Kingdom, hailed an agreement to provide Australia with nuclear-powered attack submarines in a major push to stunt Chinese ambitions in the Indo-Pacific.
AUKUS has one overriding objective: to enhance the stability of the Indo-Pacific amid rapidly shifting global dynamics.
At a U.S. naval base in San Diego, Biden on Monday laid out the so-called AUKUS plan.
With the support and approval of Congress, beginning in the early 2030s, the United States will sell 3 Virginia-class submarines to Australia, with the potential to sell up to 2 more if needed, jump-starting their undersea capability a decade earlier than many predicted.
The statement from the leaders said the multi-stage project would culminate with British and Australian production and operation of a trilaterally developed vessel based on Britain's next-generation design that would be built in the UK and Australia, and include cutting-edge U.S. technologies. An Australian defense official said the project would cost the country $245 billion by 2055. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
This is a powerful partnership. For the first time ever, it will mean 3 fleets of submarines working together across both the Atlantic and Pacific, keeping our oceans free, open, and prosperous for decades to come.
China, which has been building islands and airstrips and expanding its military presence in the South China Sea, has condemned AUKUS as an illegal act of nuclear proliferation.
These boats will not have any nuclear weapons of any kind on them.
Some significant questions remain about the pact. The U.S. has strict curbs on the extensive technology sharing needed for the project, and it's not yet clear just how long it will take for Washington to deliver the submarines.
Former President Donald Trump's one-time lawyer Michael Cohen arrived at a New York courthouse Monday to testify in front of a grand jury in a manner that could lead to the first-ever indictment of a former president. A New York City prosecutor is reviving an investigation into an alleged hush money payment made to a porn star during Trump's 2016 campaign for the White House. The probe involves whether Trump directed Cohen to give Stormy Daniels $130,000 to buy her silence about an affair she said she had with Trump, an affair which he denies. Cohen, who went to prison for crimes related to the payment, says his testimony is not about revenge.
This is not revenge, right? What this is about accountability. I don't want to see anyone, including Donald Trump, indicted, prosecuted, convicted, incarcerated, simply because I fundamentally disagree with them. This is all about accountability. He needs to be held accountable for his dirty deeds.
Cohen's attorney, Lanny Davis.
There are lots of labels, lots of political attacks, lots of rants on social media. There's only one word that Michael Cohen has always told me he wants from the very beginning that I started with him to this very moment. The word is truth, and I'll back that up by my own word, facts. Anytime you hear labels about Michael, attacks on Michael, just remember, we have the facts proven and documented on our side, and that's the truth.
Cohen previously testified that Trump directed him to arrange the payment made in the run-up to the 2016 election. He pleaded guilty in 2018 to campaign finance violations and other charges. Trump has called the probe a witch hunt. An attorney on his legal team said in a statement last week, for the DA's office to charge former President Trump, a victim of extortion, with a crime because his then lawyer Michael Cohen, a convicted liar, paid the extortionist would be unprecedented and outrageous selective prosecution. The prosecutor has invited Trump to testify to the grand jury, according to a Trump lawyer, though another member of his legal team told ABC's Good Morning America Monday that there was no plan to participate. Legal experts tell Reuters the fact that Trump was asked to testify could be a sign the grand jury may be close to deciding whether to bring criminal charges against him.
Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe. Your deposits will be there when you need them.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Monday sought to reassure Americans that the sudden collapse of two banks, including the largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis, did not threaten their savings.
We will not stop at this. We'll do whatever is needed.
And that he stood ready to do whatever is needed. The morning address came after a weekend of emergency moves by U.S. regulators to guarantee all deposits at Silicon Valley Bank, which failed on Friday, and at Signature Bank, which was taken over by regulators on Sunday.
All customers who had deposits in these banks can rest assured they'll be protected and they'll have access to their money as of today.
But the dramatic moves failed to quash investor fears. Regional bank shares plunged on Monday morning. First Republic Bank dropped more than 65% as news of fresh financing failed to reassure investors. Western Alliance Bancorp fell nearly 76%. Trading in the stocks was halted several times due to volatility. The sell-off comes after Biden drew a clear line between depositors, who would be protected, and bank investors, who would not.
Investors in the banks will not be protected. They knowingly took a risk, and when the risk didn't pay off, investors lose their money. That's how capitalism works.
The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, normally protects all bank accounts up to $250,000, but the Biden administration announced it would protect all deposits for SVB and Signature depositors.
No losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Instead, the money will come from the fees that banks pay into the Deposit Insurance Fund.
Despite those assurances, clients raced down to Signature Bank to learn the fate of their finances.
I'm coming here to see if I have to close my accounts or not. Hopefully the bank will be bought by another bank and I can keep my accounts here. But if they're not, or if there's any question, I want to empty my accounts and bring it to another bank.
Are you worried, sir?
Everyone should be worried.
This client expressed shock as he headed inside.
I cannot believe it. This is something I did not expect.
A short while later, he left, saying he'd been reassured.
What did they say to you? Everything is okay.
Everything's okay?
Yeah.
Biden on Monday said he would press Congress to strengthen bank regulations to better protect against these types of bank troubles. The Democratic president blamed the partial repeal of regulations under the prior Republican administration.
The legislation I'm signing today rolls back the crippling Dodd-Frank regulations that are crushing community banks.
In 2018, changes to the Dodd-Frank Act, pushed by Republicans, raised the threshold at which banks are considered systemically risky and subject to strict oversight to $250 billion from $50 billion. Silicon Valley Bank had $209 billion in assets at the end of last year.
22,000 people who took part in anti-government protests have been pardoned in Iran, according to judicial authorities. Speaking on Monday, the country's judiciary chief, Gholam Hossein Mohseni Ejei, said 82,000 people have been pardoned, including 22,000 people who participated in the protests. He did not specify over what period the pardons were granted. It is also not known if or when the people had been charged. State media reported in February that Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei had pardoned, quote, tens of thousands of prisoners, including some arrested in the protests. The protests swept across a conservative country after the death of Mahsa Amini, while in the custody of the country's morality police last September. The demonstrations have been one of the boldest challenges to the Islamic Republic since the 1979 revolution.